Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about two extremely popular American-made out-the-front automatic knives and comparing them, the Kershaw Livewire and the Microtech Ultratech. The Livewire is the newer of the two out-the-front automatics that has been around for probably going on 2 years now. It's been out for about a year or so, and the Ultratech has been around for many years and is generally considered to be the standard for American-made out-the-front knives. It's got a really great reputation. There are lots of videos online about it, just showing what it truly can do, torture testing it, and other things. So if you haven't done your research on either of these, definitely go check both of them out. But I'm going to kind of be just going through, some comparisons here right now, just head-to-head directly versus one or the other. So like I said, the Livewire is a lot newer, so it has not stood the test of time as much as the Ultratech, but both are just about the same size, both very lightweight, both made in the USA. Kershaw has been around forever as a knife company. Microtech has been around for, I think, the better part of 30 years or so now. I think actually it is their 30-year anniversary. They're making some knives that say 30 years. So, both great companies, both great warranties. I believe both have just the same generic lifetime warranty that you find on pretty much every reputable American-made knife company or brand. And in my experience, I have worked with the Kershaw warranty department. I have not worked with the Microtech one. I've talked to them briefly and they do respond, but I have not actually had to send anything in ever. I had a Kershaw break, and a lot of companies will make you send the knife all the way in and then have them fix it and they'll send it back to you. Kershaw, what I thought was interesting, and again, I don't know if they do this for every knife. I had a cheap $20 or $30 Kershaw, and one of the washers had bent inside so it wouldn't open. So I just filled out a form online and they sent me washers like 2 weeks later, which is pretty cool. So you can fix it yourself. I think that's great. So the only experience that I've had with Kershaw's warranty has been nothing but positive. I have this Livewire. I have the Launch, I think it's Launch 6. So just a push button automatic. And then I've had just a couple other cheap Kershaws, over the years that some have lasted longer than others, some have not. But those are my good American-made Kershaws, and I think they're a great company. So kind of established that they're both, reputable companies. You don't really need to be worrying about that. The big thing that a lot of people will focus on when they come to out the fronts or they're shopping around for their first out the front is the price. The price point on the Livewire will definitely win. It is, I know you can get them on sale for about, I know Blade HQ occasionally will run sales where they'll be like about 180 to 190 bucks, which is awesome. I think normally though they retail for 230 to 250 depending on what models you want to get. So they have a carbon fiber model now. They have a double-edged dagger style model. They have, I don't know if they have G10, but I know they have those. They have a Tonto version, and they have a handful of different colors. So they have some nice designs out there. Only 2 or 3 blade shapes to pick from. The Ultratech has a million colors out there and a million different blade shapes, again, because they've been established longer in the out to front than Kershaw has. But the price is going to generally be about $100 more for an Ultratech. That's kind of, there's some rounding going on there, but generally Ultratechs will be anywhere from $300 to $350 if you're just getting a standard, aluminum, not their signature series, just a straight up plain Ultratech. It'll be about probably, I would say, anywhere from $70 to $100 more than the Livewire. And again, if you're shopping around for the Livewire on sale, you can get a great deal. So the price gap may be a little bit more. Now, ultimately, the question we'll arrive at is the price difference of that $100-ish going to be worth it for the Microtech over, the same style American-made out the front knife? And that's when I was shopping for my first out the front, that was kind of what I considered. And so hopefully this will help some people figure that out. I honestly, at this point, would probably say no. I don't think the difference is worth that huge of a jump in price. Again, I really like the Ultratech because it's really slim compared to a lot of out the fronts out there. I think it feels sturdy. The button, it's not really hard to actuate, but it is sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's cheap. And it really feels like a quality made knife. I've said that on a couple videos before. If you've never held a Microtech, just go hold one and you'll be able to tell immediately the difference between that and a cheaper automatic knife or just a cheaper knife in general. but I don't think the quality is really worth that much of a difference in price. I think the Kershaw Livewire, again, it has rapidly gained popularity, and rightfully so, because the button, so essentially what Kershaw has done is they've taken the newer out the front automatic technology that we're going to start seeing in some Microtechs coming up, and put it in their flagship version of a out the front. So it's got 2 springs inside instead of 1 with the Ultratech, which makes it a lot easier and a lot more smooth to open. So it's a lot more enjoyable to use, enjoyable on the fingers, enjoyable on the grip if you're using it a lot. Not really that big of a difference, but just a small minor update to improve the technology, especially, you know, as some of the single spring stuff that's a little bit stiff is slowly becoming more and more outdated. So that's a nice touch. The Kershaw also has MagnaCut steel. Again, if you watch the channel, you know I'm not a huge steel guy. I think it's nice that they include a new high-speed steel, but Microtech also has M390 steel, which is another phenomenal steel. So they're both updated steel. So in my eyes, they're kind of on the same playing field. Now, some people that matters more than others. Again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. What matters more is how the steel is treated. And again, I don't have any personal way to prove that this is the case, but a lot of people like to talk online about how Microtech's M390 is a lot more soft than standard M390, or what a lot of companies will treat their M390 at. So that kind of means that, you know, it's not really maximized in terms of what the steel can actually do, the edge retention and toughness and all that jazz. But again, if you're just a normal person like me, you're just using a knife, you're not going to know the difference. Maybe you'll notice a slight difference, but you're probably not going to notice a difference. The MagnaCut, again, I've used this for a long time. This is, again, one of my more used knives to just do all kinds of stuff with. I really like the blade shape on this, so I end up using it a lot for stuff. It's got a nice point to pry staples out and such. But the MagnaCut, I can't really tell a difference between these steels. If I'm being honest, I think they're both great steels, and I think they've been treated well. I think they're relatively easy to sharpen, and they hold an edge extremely well. So that's, you know, as just a normal guy who's not using a knife all day, every day, but using it, you know, just around the house, outside, doing some work, you're not going to really tell the difference. Let's just be honest with each other here. It is nice that, you know, MagnaCut is the new super steel that's kind of come out. So maybe Microtech will kind of slowly shift over to that, but the steel is really not what you're paying for here. So again, we've kind of established that is the same. Now the blade shapes, again, because Kershaw has not been around as long as the Ultratech, they really have this, I think they call it a drop point or a spear point type blade shape. Their Tonto, which is just, you know, that's a pretty unique type blade shape. And then the double-edged dagger. So there's really no in-between here, versus the Microtech has their drop point, they have Tonto, they have a dagger, they have the Spartan blade, they have the bayonet blade, they have the Hellhound and Warhound blades, which, you know, those are probably not going to be used that much. Those are more collector's pieces, but they still have all kinds of other options. So I think Microtech probably wins on the variety, but I think Kershaw's blade shape that they picked is actually a lot more useful than the Microtech drop point. I just find myself, it seems a lot easier when I'm getting in to try to pry out staples, or I'm trying to pry open lids or whatever. And disclaimer, don't do that with your knife. If, you know, make sure you're not doing that so you're not breaking the tip off. But this is just a lot easier to pierce and kind of get under stuff than the Microtech drop point blade is. So for what it's worth, again, I know Microtech has a bunch of different blade shapes, and their dagger comes to a point more so than the Kershaw, but Microtech's dagger blade is also the kind of double grind. It's got both sides, so it doesn't cut that well, so you can't really use that to actually work with. That's why I don't really have any of their dagger blades, as much as I would like to have one just to have laying around. But I think Kershaw probably will win on just the standard drop point kind of user blade. I really like the blade shape. I think it looks nice. It's pointy, and it can do a lot of stuff that the Microtech can do, but just not do as well. So that settles that. What else do we have here? The pocket clip, probably. I know the pocket clip gets talked about a lot with the Livewire. Again, if you've watched videos, you know people just like to rag on the pocket clip. And it's not the best pocket clip, but I think it gets a lot more hate than it really should online. I mean, I don't have again, I don't really use pocket clips a whole lot. I just slip it in my jeans pocket, but it's not the best. Again, it's not the best, but it does work. And you can't really, if I hadn't watched a bunch of videos about people complaining about it, I probably wouldn't. I would just think it's an all right pocket clip. I mean, there's nothing to bash really with it. I wish it was a little bit bigger and kind of longer, maybe more centered, but it works. It gets the job done. Not the best, room for improvement, but it is what it is. The Ultratech pocket clip, it does wiggle a little bit, but I think it actually works really well. I really like this pocket clip. Again, the Ultratech has been around for so long that they really have perfected the pocket clip, at least in my opinion. I think this is a phenomenal one. Super easy to get in and out. I think the wide part of it makes it easy to slide in and out. It's not really getting caught. The more thin pocket clips seem to struggle, like the Livewire one, but that's just my opinion. Everybody's got a different opinion when it comes to pocket clips. Personally, I'd try not to listen to other people's opinions on pocket clips until you figure out what you like. There's just so many different kinds of them that makes it a little more difficult. The screws on the Kershaw are Torx, which is awesome. Microtech are not, so Kershaw wins that battle. I mean, I have not actually taken apart the Livewire because I saw a video and it looks kind of difficult to deal with and put back together. I probably will eventually at some point, but have not bothered to do that yet. And I have not taken apart the Microtech because I don't have the tool to unscrew their hardware. So it's like the weird, funky screws that they make in-house, which is cool because it keeps it 100% American made, but kind of annoying that I can't take it apart. And finally, I think probably the last thing that we will talk about, maybe last two things, I guess, we'll call it the button and the action. The Livewire has a lot more narrow of a button. So you'll see the Ultratech kind of is the same width all the way throughout, and it raises up in the middle, and it's got that nice groove in the middle. It's more stout. The Livewire kind of comes to a point in the middle from, obviously, vertically, but also horizontally. It kind of comes up and narrows a little bit in the middle, which is it's not the best, honestly. I would have liked to have seen probably a little bit wider of a button to be able to just get a better grip on it. Like, if my finger's kind of sliding off and I can't get a great grip, it's a little bit trickier to actuate. But because they have that double spring action in there, it makes it a lot easier versus if the Ultratech was like that, it would make it a lot more annoying to actuate. So it is what it is, but I think I like the Ultratech. I like Microtech's buttons a lot better. The action, I know we've talked about this briefly before, but because Microtech uses that single spring action on the Ultratech, it's a little bit more stiff to get out, which some people might like, some people might not like. I actually don't mind it. I kind of prefer it almost, unless I'm, just sitting there playing with it, and it gets a little bit difficult to do over time. It's a lot more stiff than, again, this Livewire and some of the other newer out the front models that have been coming out recently. But, not that huge of a difference. It just feels a lot nicer to update. Now, I will say the Livewire does have a little bit of a squeak to it. So I don't know if you can, of course, now that I'm trying to do it on camera, it's not really doing that, but it does have a little bit of a squeak to it. And you can hear that on some other videos if you're watching Livewire videos. I've oiled this thing like crazy. I've tried to break it in a lot. And I find that when I do use it a ton, it actually starts to go away. And then after I oil it and I'm just trying to wear the oil in, it kind of comes back a little bit. So it's off and on, not a huge issue, but it definitely makes it sound and feel a little bit, cheaper is not the right word, but less sturdy and well made than the Ultratech. But that's a pretty minor issue. I also think the button rattles about the same on both. So the button's not that big of an issue, but just the thin button and the light action just makes it feel, they just have two different feels, but both fantastic knives. I think the action, with some of the newer, again, like I mentioned before, the newer out the fronts coming out, the action is kind of a personal thing again. Like I said, I actually kind of like the stiff action sometimes, especially when I'm working. It doesn't bother me that much versus just sitting there playing with them. Now, Kershaw Livewire, I think, will take the battle over this particular Ultratech. Microtech is actually very, very soon, allegedly, releasing a next generation Ultratech that is going to essentially have all of the good features that the Livewire has on the Ultratech. So it's kind of catching up. They will have the they call it dual fuel drivetrain is what Microtech calls it. I'm not sure if that's their trademark term, or that's just what the industry is going to start calling it. But I have the 2 springs inside, which will make the action a lot easier, which is great. It's going to have Torx hardware instead of their funky like pyramid triangle type hardware. It's going to have the same clip as the Cypher and some of the other like new combat Troodon models that are coming out. So here, I have the Cypher right here. It's going to have that big ball type pocket clip, which is going to be pretty cool. Same action. The action on these is awesome, the next gen Microtech. So that'll be really cool to see. It's going to have, I think it's going to have the same integrated glass breaker. Don't quote me on that, but I vaguely remember them saying something about that. There are pictures of it online, but it's also going to be a little bit wider than the Ultratech, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but I would imagine that's probably to include the 2 springs versus just having a single spring. So it is what it is. I really like the shape of the Ultratech. I think it's really thin, and it, you know, it's almost as thin as they can make it, and the blade sits snug in there. So that's pretty cool. But again, the next gen Ultratech will have the same features that are great from the Livewire, and I think they said it's only going to be about $50 more than this Ultratech. So that'll raise the price gap between these to probably 100 and say like 125 to 150. Is it going to be worth the difference? I don't think so. Honestly, I think you can't go wrong with the Livewire. I mean, I'm definitely going to be getting a new Ultratech. I'm probably going to sell a bunch of stuff just so I can get it. I think it's going to be awesome. But if you're looking at just buying one out the front automatic, I think you will be very happy with the Kershaw Livewire. I'd recommend it to anybody. Again, shop around, find a deal on them. They go on sale online periodically. A lot of local stores will carry this. I know Cabela's in my area, or Bass Pro Shops, just started carrying the Tonto version, which I thought was pretty cool. I've not seen them carry automatic knives in a long time, so they might be bringing it back for this, just because this is super popular. So you can find it in a lot of places that sell knives, which is pretty cool. And you know, there will be a lot of people commenting, and you can go read the comments in some of my other videos just about the glowing reviews of the Livewire, which is awesome. I think it's just a great knife. It's made in the USA. I think one feature that I really like on the American-made Kershaw automatics is the flag that's kind of, I don't know if it's lasered or etched onto there, but I think that's pretty cool. It's just a cool feature. Just nice. Like I wish a lot of companies would start doing that. I think it's just a cool thing to include on your knife. So you will not go wrong with a Livewire. Definitely check them out. Hit up my knife deals community on X. I have not really seen that many of these since National Knife Day go on sale, but they do go on sale for like the major holidays. So I'll add them on there. Go check it out if you're shopping around. Comment if there's a certain knife that you want to see, or you know, something that you want to see compared to the Ultratech or the Livewire, excuse me. And if you're shopping for something in particular, let me know. I also, just one last thing to note before I end this video here, I also just added memberships to the channel, and I'm gonna, like, there's no benefit to being a member. So only if you want to support the channel and join and be a member. As of right now, whatever date this video is published, there are no benefits that come with being a member. So don't, you know, do not feel pressured at all to sign up for it. You don't need to sign up for it. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed and who watch these videos and tune in. It means a lot to me. And again, the channel is blowing up, which is really fun. And I hope you find all these videos helpful. Just feel free to leave feedback. Tell me what you're looking for, what you want to see. I would love some ideas for videos. I always wonder what I should be talking about. So definitely let me know what you're thinking. And as always, again, I really appreciate the support. I hope you're enjoying, the end of summer here, going into fall, and I hope you enjoy watching all these videos. I hope these are helpful as well, and I hope you're enjoying the rest of your night. So thanks again for watching, and take care.